I keep bloody well missing Orctober. Like, come on. The sheer quantity of orc models that I have painted over the years, and I've not managed to do a video in Orctober. Very early on in my wargaming hobby, I had quite the sizable 40k orc army. These guys are dusty as all hell these days, and whilst my painting isn't great now, these show just how far I've come. A little later on for me came Warhammer Fantasy Battles, and my main force was Bretonnians, but I did dabble in orcs because, of course I did, orcs are fun. And since then I have widened my collection for the fantasy RPGs that I used to host. Oh, is this village being attacked by orcs? Well, I've got plenty of models to show that. One of our players wants to play as an orc character? Well, we've got plenty to choose from. And even after that, I can jump into a fantasy skirmish game with my current collection. And might need to add in one or two specific things, but I've got most of the things that you could possibly need. Now, more recently, I have painted a couple of orcs on video, but I've never really timed it right for Orctober. And so, I was quite happy to realise that whilst I've been painting some orc ships for Mantic's Armada, it teetered over into October, and if I struggle through, I could just about claim that I've painted a bunch of orc stuff in the most orky of months. I'll mention that some of these models have been painted previously. The 3 Bloodrunners have all been in videos, as has one of the Hammerfists and Rabble Squadrons. So this month I've painted an extra 2 Rabble Squadrons, and I customised a Hammerfist because I really don't like the original Hammerfist style. The bar with the 2 fists on, and yes, I know that's what the ship is named after, it just seems a bit odd to me, and not in that kind of fun orky way, just an odd way. And so what I did is I scaled down the front of the Ripper Hulk's triple cutting blade thing, fused that into the Hammerfist's hull using my slicing software, and I added a few other little bits here and there to make it look more interesting, and then I've already painted that up as well. But I also have a full-size Ripper with the cannon in the prow, and that is getting painted right now as we speak, or well, the video of it is on screen, as you know what I mean. I mentioned in another video that I painted the fleet's hull, the entire fleet's hulls, in one go, and actually that was what I was painting right at the beginning of Orctober. So it's just the sails to finish for the Ripper. Each of my orc ship classes are going to have a different colour sail just so that I can differentiate them when I'm playing the game. It also kind of looks cool to have the different colours. The Rabble Squadrons, the smallest of them, have an orangey yellow, the Bloodrunners get that nice blue that I really like, the Hammerfists get red, and I wanted to decide what colour for the biggest one, which will always be the flagship if it's ever on the field. Or the sea. To be bold and intimidating, a solid dark black seemed appropriate, and I totally forget that painting black is hard. My base coat was a lighter black called charcoal on the pot. It has some green pigment in it for some reason, but that left me loads of depth to paint in my shadows. And so I went for the darkest black paint that I have, and I manually went in on the underside of every fold of all of the sails. To contrast that, on the upper part of each fold, I mixed myself a dark grey, although it was quite a lot lighter than I had intended. If I hadn't been rushing, I would have come in with quite a few more layers in more subtle steps between the charcoal and this kind of mid-grey that I would end up with. And the reason for that rush is I wanted to get the whole fleet finished in October, but spoiler warning, alas, it is not to be. I did have one thing that I needed to think through, because I've actually been painting the axe symbol on all of the orcs' sails in black, so having black sails and a black axe would be slightly odd, and so I rebase coated the axe with a slightly lighter grey and then highlighted it up much further than I had highlighted the rest of the sails, and so whilst it will still blend in a little bit, it should still be noticeable when you look for it. And that's pretty much all I need to do to get the Ripper Hulk completed. And whilst I do admit that I have rushed through the sails, I think they're kind of good enough in that slightly cartoony style to fit the kind of slightly cartoony style of my fleet. I do still have the tiny flyers that I haven't painted. There's a goblin kind of glider thing and a dragon carrying a big metal box, which I don't actually know what that is. And to top that off, my favourite ship in the Orc model collection for Armada is the Smasher. I love this one. The flames and the big toothy grin of the prow. It's a really fun model. And even better, I have not only the standard version, but I also have the ghostly version from the Mantic Vault. And these two are going to be really cool once they're painted, although that will have missed the end of Orctober. Even if I haven't finished the whole fleet, what I can say is I have properly participated in Orctober, a social event I really should plan better for. I have painted a few Orc ships, and I'm well on the way to finishing my full Armada fleet, just those flyers and the Smasher sails, and then the resin bases. Can't forget the bases. But if you guys at home are painting any Orc stuff in the last month, do let me know in the comments below. But for now, I'm ED-SKaR, always will be, and thank you very much for watching.